Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Pochettinho becoming Manchester United manager mid-season is still a possibility. Now yesterday it said PSG rejected Manchester United's move to appoint Mauricio Pochettinho. Prior to PSG's game against Man City, Pochettinho said he's happy at PSG and he won't let the Man United rumours distract him. Now Pochettinho is said to be interested in the Manchester United job. It mentioned that earlier on this week. And the Manchester Evening News said earlier on this week that Manchester United are confident of appointing Mauricio Pochettinho as their next permanent manager. And Manchester United have agreed to pay the 10 million compensation fee for Pochettinho. If PSG can get Zinedine Zidane, then I can assure that Man United will get Pochettinho. You know, PSG have made contact with Zidane. Manchester United should have got Pochettinho after the club sacked Jose Mourinho. But obviously the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. He has a full season left on his PSG contract. Pochettinho is a good manager, even though he's hardly won anything. I think he has won one trophy at PSG. I think he would be the perfect fit for Man United. And plus he's proven in the Premier League, which is beneficial because before he managed Tottenham, Pochettinho enjoyed a 5.5-year tenure with Tottenham. He nearly won the Premier League at Tottenham and he got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final back in 2018. But analysing the vast majority of his tenure at Tottenham, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top four. Also managed Southampton before. He only enjoyed a short tenure with them, but he still guided Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League. So they're the clubs he's managed in the Premier League at the moment, and before Pochettinho managed Espanyol. But he is Man United's number one choice because Fabrizio Romano confirmed that earlier on this week. But we may have to wait until the end of the season to get Pochettinho. The Telegraph have said that Manchester United are looking to appoint an interim manager as soon as possible from the 5-man shortlist, featuring Ralf Rangnick, Ernesto Valverde, Rudi Garcia, Lucien Favre and Paulo Fonseca has also been mentioned. And Man United have spoke to these managers. Ralf Rangnick and Ernesto Valverde are the favourites to take over temporarily till we get a full-time manager. Now, reports said yesterday that Manchester United have held talks with Ernesto Valverde over the interim manager role. Ernesto Valverde has been managerless for almost 2 years. His last managerial role was Barcelona. And when he was at Barcelona, he won back-to-back La Liga titles. He also won the Copa del Rey. He was sacked by Barcelona back in January 2020. Before he managed Olympiacos, he endured 2 spells at Olympiacos and he won titles in Greece. And before, he's managed Atletico Bilbao, and I think he won a trophy with them, so he has got a decent pedigree behind him. Zinedine Zidane, I've disregarded him coming to Manchester United because it did mention not so long ago that Zidane is not interested in taking over Man United as he doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment. Brendan Rodgers, I've also disregarded him coming because not so long ago Brendan Rodgers dismissed links to the Man United job. He said, "I'm proud to be at Leicester." The other week though, Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire and that stirred some suggestions up. But at that point, he was house hunting. He said Rodgers was the favourite to replace Solskjaer. Erik ten Hag, he's been mentioned a lot, and I presume there's a lot of United fans that would like to see Erik ten Hag come in. He's a good manager. He's done well at Ajax. He's won a few trophies with them. He develops young players well. And he's been Ajax manager for 4 years. So Man United are now looking for their 5th permanent manager since Ferguson, because obviously Man United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson sacked Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, and of course Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. At the moment, Michael Carrick is the interim manager. Michael Carrick won his first game as the interim manager against Villarreal. Manchester United beat Villarreal 2-0. Reflecting on the win against Villarreal, Manchester United have qualified for the last 16 of the Champions League. And I had to give Michael Carrick a lot of credit because I thought his game plan was correct and his substitutions were correct. It's very likely that Michael Carrick will be in charge for the game against Chelsea this Sunday. But we have got to get someone in because we can't stick with Carrick for the long term. Michael Carrick got announced as the interim manager last Sunday morning, following the dismissal of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Solskjaer, of course, was sacked following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. And don't forget, Solskjaer gave a farewell interview. He got emotional in that farewell interview. I felt for Solskjaer. He got the vast majority of the blame, reflecting on our poor performances. Yes, Solskjaer was partly to blame because his tactics and his team selections were questioned a lot, but not all of the blame stemmed from him. There was also players that had to take responsibility for those poor performances. Manchester United certainly made the right decision sacking Solskjaer. Because the last 2-3 months were just absolutely horrendous. The performances were poor and the results were poor. And I don't think the club really wanted to sack him, but in the end, the club were left with no choice. Solskjaer obviously wants to take a break from management now after getting sacked from Man United. Manchester United paid Solskjaer $7.5 million because last summer he signed a 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Manchester United should have never give Solskjaer that contract, because I knew for a long time he wasn't the long-term manager for Man United. But despite United sacking Solskjaer last Sunday morning, you know, all Man United fans still adore Solskjaer, reflecting on what he's done for the club. You know, Solskjaer was a great player for Manchester United. He endured 11 years as a player. He flourished under Ferguson's guidance. And Solskjaer is a legend of the club, and he always will be a legend of the club. That's what got mentioned on the statement when Solskjaer got sacked. The club Solskjaer has managed in his managerial career, obviously he's managed Man United's reserve team. He managed Cardiff. His record at Cardiff was terrible. He only enjoyed a short tenure at Cardiff. He got sacked from Cardiff because he got them relegated. He also managed Molde. He enjoyed 2 spells at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles and that with them, but they're not a big club. And of course, he managed Manchester United's senior squad. Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager. You know, Solskjaer was Manchester United manager for almost 3 years. You know, Ollie did get appointed in December 2018. In Ollie's first 3 months, he was the interim manager. He did very, very well as the interim manager, so the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. Ollie knew though when he'd taken over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job and a difficult job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin, because Ollie was managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. But I said at the start of this season that this season was always going to be big for Ollie, and plus the pressure was on Ollie anyway, reflecting on the summer transfer window Manchester United had this year, because we had a good summer transfer window. We made 4 signings, we spent around 141 million. Plus the board backed Solskjaer when he was United manager in this year's summer transfer window. You know, the Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him, John Murtough backed him, and Darren Fletcher backed him. So in the end, Solskjaer ran out of excuses. Solskjaer did not win a trophy as Man United manager, and he was never capable of winning trophies as a manager. Manchester United have not won a trophy since 2017. But the expectations were far too high for Ollie to exceed as United manager, and he was in a position that he shouldn't have been in. You know, Manchester United should be winning the league this season, or at least competing for the league, because we have got a very good squad. But we're a team of individuals. We don't actually play as a team, and that explains why we've been doing so bad. But obviously the players weren't playing for Solskjaer anyway in the last 2 or 3 months of his managerial tenure. You know, Manchester United have been playing catch-up since Ferguson retired. And a lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go wrong when Ferguson retired, which obviously it has done. We won't get another Alex Ferguson, so in that aspect we've got to accept that. You know, Ferguson brought success to Manchester United. He won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. Ferguson, though, didn't win out in his first 4 years, and he was very, very close to getting the sack. Good job he didn't get sacked, or we wouldn't have had any success now. Ferguson was at Manchester United for around 27 years, so he was a very long-serving manager. Manchester United must have spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years. Must have brought a good 40 odd players in now since Ferguson retired. Manchester United are going to offload players next year. I think Dean Henderson will be going out on loan. Well, Henderson wants to go out on loan. Henderson doesn't get his opportunities now because De Gea reclaimed that #1 spot back. Henderson's only been in goal for 1 game so far this season. That was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. And at one point Henderson was out with COVID for a while. At one point last season though, Henderson got the #1 jersey and he did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. Just wanted to have a drink then. Before the start of last season, Henderson signed a 6-year contract to Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. Henderson's got experience behind him because he enjoyed 2 successful loans with Sheffield. He's also had other loan spells before. Diego Dalot, I think there's a good chance that he'll leave the club next year because Dalot doesn't really get in the team. Dalot only plays when Bissaka's not available. Dalot is our backup right back to Bissaka. There again, Dalot has done well in some of the games he has been involved in though. You can also play Dalot at left back. Last season, Dalot was out on loan with AC Milan, so reflecting on that, he gained some experience. We got Dalot around 3 years ago from Porto, paid £19 million for him. And he's got a contract with Man United until 2023. Eric Bailly, I think he's also leaving next year, unfortunately, because Bailly doesn't get regular game time. Bailly's only made 3 appearances so far this season. He played in the 2-0 defeat to Man City, was very, very poor in that game. Obviously, City's first goal came from an own goal by Bailly, but it wasn't only the own goal. His overall performance was poor. But I was shocked in that aspect because Bailly played well in the 2-2 draw against Atalanta earlier on this season, and he played well in the game against West Ham in the Carabao Cup, which obviously Manchester United lost. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, obviously with the signing of Varane in the summer transfer window, and obviously Lindelof's been preferred to Bailly. Don't ask me why, because Bailly is a far superior centre-half to Lindelof. My concern about Bailly is injury prone. Towards the end of last season, he signed a new contract with Man United till 2024. There's an option of a further year. He's been at the club for 5.5 years now. Bailly, Man United got him from Villarreal back in 2016. The club paid around 30 million. Bailly's in contention to play against Chelsea this weekend though, because obviously Maguire is suspended. Maguire got sent off against Watford last weekend. And obviously you've got Varane injured. Phil Jones, I think he's also leaving next year. Phil Jones doesn't get in the team. At one point, Phil Jones was out with a knee injury for a while. Jones has always been inconsistent. Did you know Phil Jones is the only outfield player that's still with us from the Ferguson era? He's been a long-serving player at the club, Jones. This season is his 11th season at Man United. I think there's a good chance that Tellez will be leaving the club next year because, You know, Tellez is another one that doesn't really get in the team. You know, Tellez will only play when Luke Shaw's not available. Obviously, Shaw wasn't available against Villarreal recently, so Tellez played ahead of him. And to his credit, you know, Tellez put a very good performance out. In few of the games he's been involved in, he's been consistent. Earlier on this season, Tellez was out with injury, wasn't he? The reason we brought Tellez in was to provide competition for Shaw. We got him for 15.4 million from Porto last year. Matic, I think he's another one that's leaving the club next year. We need to get an adequate replacement for Matic. Matic is the only predominant centre defensive mid we've got. He isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but he still seems to get his chances, does Matic. Surprisingly enough, he's been ahead of Van der Beek in that midfield. I've always had my reservations about Matic, even though he has had his good games at Man United. Matic has been at Man United for 4.5 years now. Got him from Chelsea back in 2017 for £40 million. Pogba, there's a good chance that he'll be leaving the club next year, because earlier on this season it said Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for him in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. Pogba is out with a thigh injury. He suffered the thigh injury in France training earlier on this season. I think Pogba's out for the rest of 2021, so Pogba may never play for the club again. But Pogba, I do think he is a good player. He's not only a good player, he's an imperative player as well. And he did enjoy a good start to the Premier League season. You know, so far this season, Pogba's got 7 assists in the league. He produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season, but at one point last season he was out with a thigh injury for a while, and let's put into the equation he sustained some ankle injuries at Man United before. Don't forget, earlier on this season, Pogba got sent off in the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool, and obviously he had to serve a 3-match ban. Pogba's had a long-running transfer saga, hasn't he? He's been relentlessly linked with Real Madrid. His former club Juventus have been in for him. PSG have been in for him. Barcelona have been in for him. And Inter Milan have been in for him before. Mino Raiola, Pogba's agent, has been working hard now though for quite some time to get his client to move away from the club. Manchester United paid 89 million for Pogba, so at the moment is our most expensive signing. He's won 3 trophies at the club so far, and this season is his 6th season since he re-signed. Van der Beek could be leaving next year. Well, when we did have Solskjaer, Van der Beek actually confirmed that he will be leaving in January. I think the only way he'll stay is if he gets his chances from now on. You know, Van der Beek never really got enough chances when we had Solskjaer. And Van der Beek started in the 2-0 win against Villarreal. He started ahead of Bruno Fernandes in that number 10. And he put a good performance out, did Van der Beek. You know, his movement was good. He kept the ball well. He made some nice touches and he got in some good positions. That just proves how good he is. You know, Van der Beek came on in the 4-1 defeat to Watford and made an instant impact. He scored against Watford, and that was only his 2nd goal for the club. You know, Van der Beek has been at Manchester United for over 1.5 years now, is it? This season is his 2nd full season at the club. Manchester United got Van der Beek for 40 million. Man United paid like 35 million up front. There was 5 million in add-ons. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Jesse Lingard, I think he's also leaving the football club next year because, was it prior to the Watford game, he said that Jesse Lingard's future at Manchester United is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapsed. Lingard's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Before the start of this season, Lingard had what? A 4-month loan spell with West Ham, and he made an impact. He said not so long ago that Lingard could leave Man United for just £10 million. Lingard doesn't really get in the team, does he? He's only made 1 start this season, that was West Ham in the Cup. But I am hearing that West Ham want to re-sign him. And I heard as well that Lingard's interested in going abroad. Lingard's been part of Manchester United for a long time, hasn't he? Risen up our academy in that. He's had his good periods at Man United. He's also had his bad periods as well. Juan Mata, he's going as well next year, I think. Mata's contract at Man United expires next summer. Earlier on this year, Juan Mata signed a 1-year contract extension. I can't understand why we extended his contract for a further year, because Mata doesn't get in the team, plus he's ageing up and he has lost that yard of pace. But despite all of that, I reckon he's had a good career at Man United. Mata's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored over 50 goals. And he's been a long-serving player at the club. He's been at Man United for 7.5 years. He's been with us since the Moyes era. We brought him in under the Moyes era. We got him for around £40 million from Chelsea. And I think Martial and Cavani are also leaving the club next year. In January, I'm expecting Manchester United to make a signing. Obviously, we want to try to get a centre defensive midfielder in, and I'm hearing that Man United are interested in that Milinkovic-Savic, if I pronounce his name correctly. Yes, he's from Lazio. Obviously, Man United have been in for Declan Rice before from West Ham. So, yeah. So anyway guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. My channel name is Red Devil 24, and take care, God bless, see you all again very, very soon.